So we've set up another electrolytic refining cell. What we're using is garden copper sulphate. You mix that in with hot water. It's only 25% copper sulphate in this. It dissolves pretty easy. It's a granule. Comes with a little scoop. It's granular. We're using a power supply that we can set output on. You want to keep your voltage down low, so we're down at 3.6 volts for this one. And we are currently taking copper atoms off this piece here, which is a dirty old bit of copper wire I got in the scrap. So clip that there. We're plating them onto this piece of stainless steel. Now, my theory being that it should be able to come off the stainless steel. It's certainly plated. Should be able to cut down the stainless and peel the copper off after some time. Obviously, it's not going to be straight away. Doesn't want to stand up. No, it's not straight. So what I want to be able to do with this, it's only pulling a bit over half an amp. We've only used 1 amp hour in an hour, so 59 minutes. So obviously we've altered the conductivity because I've moved the two pieces. You want to keep your clips out of the water, keep your voltage low, and it'll plate and stay there really nicely. I did have it up too high before. We ended up with this bit of a mess. This was in another cell that I set up, but I had hydrochloric acid in there to try and get some conductivity. As you can see, we've ended up with a green mess. And you get like a burning sensation of the copper as it plates on there. So now that we've done this, what I'm hoping to achieve is to be able to plate copper off. I want to do this on a bigger scale in a 1,000 litre tank, but my aim is to have a 1,000 litre copper sulphide cell that I can then plate directly off motherboards, CPUs, etc. over to the stainless, recover the copper from stainless sheets just like a normal electrolytic refining cell, and then also be able to process the sludges in the bottom with pyro, so with fire, in the furnace to get the gold flakes and things like that off. Or we can go the other way with nitric acid to get the gold out of the sludge. So this is just a test with some crappy old wire. Obviously you could throw that in the dirty wire bin and scrap that off. But we're trying to get ourselves a real coating up on top of this stainless here. You see where it was laying on its side in the water before. But the idea is that water line should just be all molecules stuck to that, to the point where we can peel them off. We're only using not even 40 watts on the solar inverter over there, so this is something that can just tick over for free continuously, which is a big factor. You don't want to have too much cost involved in the cell itself. Copper sulphate was $18 or something like that, but we should be able to reuse that. What I intend on doing is using a pleated paper filter and a small pump to suck all the sludge out of the bottom and recirculate the copper sulphate in solution. Because it's in solution, it shouldn't go through like a 20 micron filter. It'll stay in solution and not get caught. So that's what we're aiming for. Particles of the copper are leaving that cruddy old bit of cable, plating over there, and then all we've got to do is scale this up and keep our voltage and current where we want them. I may have to power it with something a lot larger, like a big power supply, but I do have a multi-volt 40 amp power supply or two laying around, so we should be able to do that. Yeah, we're going to try and get as much transfer as we can in our little test subject, and then we'll go full scale with a 1,000 litre bulk tank. And yeah, keeping the main thing I want to do is be able to filter the copper sulphate out to make sure that it stays in solution, and we can recycle it, because if we can recycle that, we'll be going pretty well, I reckon. So yeah, that's what this is all about. I'll update you very soon when we've got some more on there, hopefully in the next day or two. And yeah, show you the transfer process, and we'll get the bit of stainless clean again, or get another piece in there, and do a motherboard next. I want to find a way that I can put offcuts and dust and granules and all those kinds of things on I'm hoping to make like a tray that you can put them on. The molecules will just transfer. But we've just got to make sure we use stuff that's non-reactive to the process, and it doesn't end up as a base metal in the bottom in the anode sludge. And yeah, we should be golden. Every now and again, when you've got a dirty anode like this, you see it's getting weaker. Look at how fine it's getting on the tips. You see that? It's actually, yeah, you can see it losing material, which is exactly what we're after. We want all that to plate over there. So yeah, I'll update you soon. Very simple to do with a small power supply or whatever. We'll keep you updated.